there seems to be this belief that the last 80 years have been a failure. When I look at the last 80 years and you compare it to any other 80-year period around in sort of modern civilization, and it may be the greatest 80-year period of lifting people out of poverty, the greatest 80-year period of helping the United States become a power, okay? Without, the greatest 80-year period when it comes to secure both economic and personal security, the efforts we've made in health, you just name it. It's been an incredible 80 years, and it's amazing to me how much, frankly, you get some partisans on both sides that just trash how awful the last 80 years have been. If these are terrible, I can't wait for the good years.
Yeah. Chuck, it's been America's century. Mm-hmm. It's been our century, and we should not feel ashamed at all about it. I mean, I'd like to see America remain the leader of the free world, a humble leader of the free world, where we work with NATO, Japan, Australia to counter Russia and China, Iran. We work with we can't do it by ourselves, but we can do it with Japan and NATO. And I see us right now sort of walking away from that we're going to be isolationists. We're just going to worry about ourselves. And it's going to be us against the world when it comes to the economy and tariffs. That's a more dangerous world. And I don't see that as a positive direction at all.
You spent you had a lengthy career in the military. You are very familiar with sort of, I think you ended in Nebraska at Offutt, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting that wrong. But I'm curious what you make of the various potential cuts that are coming in the military. What are the cuts you think are smart, and what are the cuts are you concerned about, particularly regionally?
I think we'll actually be growing the military. We're going to have a significant plus up in the military spending. I don't mind cutting some. We should review and audit. No, but we're going to actually grow our budget, and we're going to try to get our military spending up to 4% GDP. So I don't think we're going to be going backwards on that. What I'm a little more worried about is the just rapid firing of some of our top generals without an explanation. And they'll say, "What's our right to do so?"
These cyber firings that apparently are linked to. And look, I'm not going to make you comment on her, this Laura Loomer, but sometimes I look at her and think she's like a character in some movie. Like she doesn't even seem like a real. But could somebody like this have this kind of influence over our cyber command?
She's right off the movie Poltergeist. I shouldn't say that.
You said it. There you go.
she's crazy, and I'll leave it at that. And the president denies that she had a part of this firing, but the fact is she was there that day or the day prior and recommended that General Hawk and 4 or 5 others get fired, and they did get fired. And there's no other explanation for it. I know General Hawk. General Hawk, he was a colonel when I was a 1-star. He spent 34 years in the Air Force, and every assignment other than schools, he served either in signals intelligence or cyber operations. There was nobody more prepared to run Cyber Command and National Security Agency than him. He was the best that we had in our military, and he was good. And he got fired for no real apparent reason. Other than they said he was, they said treasonous, which is baloney, total baloney. This guy was an American patriot, and it set us back. It set us back in cyber operations and our signals intelligence. We're not as good today as we were last week. Top 2 people are fired.
Do you trust the way Congress is being run right now? Do you trust that we're going to get genuine oversight over these decisions?
Well, we're going to in this because I'm the chairman of the cyber subcommittee, so I have a say. And we're going to ask, and we're going to bring in leaders, and the Democrats can ask whatever they want, and I get to ask whatever I want. You're going to have some of our party may not go down this path, but you're going to bring in the Secretary of Defense. We're going to bring in, the future chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and they're going to get these questions, even if it's not the purpose of that committee hearing. People, Democrats, Republicans, can ask whatever they want. So we're going to get some oversight of this. But here's my point, and I made it today publicly. The president has the constitutional authority to do this. It doesn't make it right. And okay, I was going to cuss, but I won't cuss. It hurt us. This move hurt America. We're not as good today. And I guarantee you, Russia and China are like laughing at us because we did something so stupid.
But whether it's the tariffs, whether it's the rapprochement to Russia, or whether it's these firings, the only beneficiaries seem to be Xi and Putin.
Yeah, I just think there's a conspiracy, or I don't know what you want to call it. It's a populism. There's probably a very, we used to have the Know Nothing Party, back in the
Yeah,
1840s.
the know
I don't know.
nothings. That was a very dangerous movement. I don't think people realize it.
So there is this element that believes this stuff, that anybody that's an incumbent is bad. All these
Yeah.
generals are bad. Russia not so bad. Ukraine's they're taking our money. There's a whole ecosystem out here that are living on certain social media and cable, and that's what they hear. And I see them. I got like folks with 2 million followers that don't like me
Right.
because I believe what I believe in there. But they all feed off each other, and they
Yeah.
believe that General Hawk was bad for no reason. It's just what they had a reason, because General Milley was the chairman when he became the commander of Cyber Command. So guilt by association in their mind, because General Milley was not
The
liked, even
irony, of
though,
course, General
yeah,
Milley was appointed by Donald Trump.
yeah.
That
So,
never seems to matter to people.
and I would say the same thing with General Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He got fired for no reason. They didn't offer a reason. I don't know of a reason to fire him. And all that does is hurt us. It puts us on our heels, and it creates a lack of trust at the very top. I mean, I know that some of these generals, and they're like, "Don, I could be next."
Yeah.
And you
Well,
know
that
what?
culture of fear.
I don't mind getting fired if I did something wrong.
Sure.
But in this case, these are just guys that are getting fired for the whims of whoever.
Before I let you go, one of my theses these days is that we have two political parties that are trying to take the place of four political movements, meaning both parties are arguably too big for their coalitions. Can you imagine a day where the Republican Party just split in two?
That's sort of how we got the Republican Party to begin with. They broke
Yeah, it
off
is.
the Whigs, and we had Fremont as our first nominee, and then Abraham Lincoln. So,
Not a bad run. Yeah, it was a pretty
no,
good run.
but you're right. We have the populist wing, we have the Reagan wing, and I am
Hmm.
clearly on the Reagan wing of this party. The Democrat Party, I would say, too, has their populists.
Yep.
You have AOC gunning after Schumer right now because he dared to keep the government open, and so and I do think I used to think of politics as a linear thing, but it
Yeah.
really is a horseshoe that closes at the top. And you have our populist wing that are now voting with AOC on a whole variety of national security measures, Ukraine,
Hmm.
FISA, the defense budget, you name it. They've gone all the way over, and they're together. And I think we started off our show this way. When I talk to Democrats today, the traditional ones, they sound
Right.
like Ronald Reagan. When I
Right.
talk to our populists, they sound like George McGovern.
Well, we're
And
in the middle of a political realignment. There's no
we
doubt
are.
about it. And I think that maybe it'll all look more obvious in 50 years when you and I are gone and some historians are figuring it out. But
Yeah.
it is a tough place to be in the middle of.
Yeah. My main goal is not to win. My main goal is to be on the right side and try to make a case and try to pull people over. With that attitude, you can't get hurt.